Hey everybody, this is John Suho talking to you about my new GoFundMe campaign for my Unbearably Funny stand-up comedy album. Please contribute to this campaign. This campaign will let me produce and sell physical copies for the recording of my very first stand-up comedy show, Unbearably Funny, incredibly funny show. And it will let me stay a small business for another year. My small business, Scottish Pep Talks, making the world a better place and being as ridiculous as possible while doing so. So we do things like comedy shows, big Scottish Christmas albums, and so on and so forth. And always try to do it in the most ridiculous way possible. So anyone who donates at least $20 can, at their request, get a copy of this album when it gets made in early 2018. All right, so let me give you some of the backstory. I'm John Suho. People call me John Suho. My whole life has been about helping people be happier and more inspired. It's also been about trying to be as ridiculous as possible while doing so. So in 2014, I started giving some of my coworkers and friends who were pretty discouraged some pep talks in a Scottish accent. You can do it. I believe in you. This got carried a little too far, as is everything I do. And later that year, I launched ScottishPepTalks.com, featuring recordings of those inspirational and hilarious messages in a Scottish accent, such as, "You're good enough, you're smart enough, and doggone it, I'm Batman." So the goal of this, as with everything, was to make the world a better place and to be utterly ludicrous in the process. I also recorded that year a holiday comedy album. Scottish Pep Talks presents Christmas from the public domain, featured such songs as Jingle Kilts, Dreidel, 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 as if it were sung by William Wallace. I understand the irony, and I kind of like the irony. I also decided to start doing charity walks for suicide prevention. Suicide prevention seemed like something that went along naturally with pep talks and trying to make the world a better place and helping people feel more inspired. So I started doing suicide prevention walks while wearing a kilt. We called this Scottish Pep Walks. And all of this led me to accidentally starting a small business. I consulted with accountants who told me that all of these things that I was doing could be considered legitimate small business deductions, to which I responded, "Really?" They said yes, but they said that to keep small business status, I would need to turn a profit 3 out of the first 5 years. And while selling 17-minute long Scottish Christmas albums did make me proud, it did not necessarily make me profitable. So over the years, I've accrued various different operating expenses. Many of them include normal things like web hosting, domain registration, and grossly underpaid graphic designers. Our graphic designers are just amazing. I mean, just look at this picture of my face on a bear. But we also have more unconventional expenses like plush Scotty dogs that I tried to sell at the Payson, Utah Scottish Festival, and the fee that I had to pay for not having a permit to sell plush Scotty dogs at the Payson, Utah Scottish Festival. Make sure that you register and pay fees as a vendor if you're going to a festival. So after 2 years in the red, I decided that to stay a small business, more for moral purposes than financial ones, I would need to do something more drastic and dramatic. So in 2016, in order to raise some money, I produced my first full-length live stand-up comedy show, Unbearably Funny. This meant writing over an hour's worth of original comedy routines about things like giving blood and getting my Massachusetts firearm certification. That was a wild ride. Booking unique venues at strange times and locations to perform the show. At one point on the tour, my show was immediately preceded and followed by tap dancing classes. That was fun. And making merchandise to sell at the show. Things like t-shirts with my face on a bear, or teddy bears wearing t-shirts with my face on a bear. Bearception. So after hundreds of hours of work, 5 different performances in 3 different states, and wonderful support from the audience, I was able to pay about $10 in taxes and remain a small business for calendar year 2016 into 2017. Oh, yeah. Financially speaking, there were probably more efficient uses of my time, but from the standpoint of living an awesome life, I can't think of anything better. After that, I had planned on doing more performances of both Unbearably Funny and a new show that I've been working on in order to sustain this dream of being a real small business, being a real boy in the eyes of the IRS. But unfortunately, life has presented me with a lot of challenges in the year 2017. 2017 has been somewhat of a rough year, and it's prevented me from being able to book and produce and perform any more shows to bring in revenue. But I still do have something valuable that I can offer the world, a recording of the last Boston performance of Unbearably Funny. With your help and donations, I can cover my business expenses for this year and also produce CDs of the recording of Unbearably Funny that I can sell at future shows and in other circumstances to bring this high quality brand of funny and very crazy to even more people. You can listen to my favorite routine from the show, the treatise on bears, at the link below. It is pretty darn awesome. Now, if I get my funding by the end of the year, the CDs should be ready sometime in the first quarter of 2018. And again, anyone who donates at least $20 can have a copy of the CD. Reach out to me, we'll coordinate how to get it to you. The best part of this is that by getting the album produced, I'll not only be okay for this year, but I'll have something to be able to sustain Scottish Pep Talks, Unbearably Funny, all the other parts of this accidental small business in the future. As I've summed up in this Scottish pep talk, give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Give a man a fishing rod, you feed him for a lifetime. Of course, that lifetime might not last very long if he gets eaten by a bear, but that won't happen so long as the bear is also eating fish. So please, save a man's life and buy a bear a fishing rod. This album is my fishing rod, and with your help, I won't get eaten by bears. I'm John Suho. Thank you very much.